Welcome, truthers and truth-curious mainstreamers. This is Poe's Law with me, Charlatan Poe. Studio's getting a little colder. I think it's probably just because the year is progressing and climate change aside, winter in Michigan is cold. Usually. It is a Sunday night. I felt like I might throw together a bonfire and try to record around that, but that's against the park rules, and the neighbors got nervous about the fire next to their trailer. So, no fire. Just imagine there's a roaring fire and we're recording around that. I thought tonight I would just kind of take a break from everything. I've got a lot of questions asking what is my favorite fairy tale ever since I started talking about fairy tales, and decided I would just go ahead, take a break tonight and read it to you. It is from the Brothers Grimm. I have this edition here that has the Apocrypha in it. So my favorite stories from the Apocrypha. I know it's the most famous one, but it's still my favorite. I think that's all, at least for tonight. So enjoy the story, and we'll talk to you again soon with updates on all the rest of the important work that we're all involved in now. The girl who loved her mother very much. Once upon a time, a girl and her mother lived together in a little house in the forest, and the girl loved her mother very much. They were very poor, and they lived together happily for many years. Now it happened one day that the girl's mother became very sick. The girl tried making poultices from the herbs of her kitchen garden. She tried water blessed by the full moon. She tried both feeding and fasting, but nothing helped. Soon she had no choice but to gather together a few coins that they had saved up over the years and journey to the city to fetch a doctor. Now the city was a long journey from their little house in the forest, much farther than the girl had ever traveled in her life, but she loved her mother very much, and the girl was determined to get help, so she packed a little food in a basket and set off on the path. She walked and she walked. Eventually, she came to a crossroads just as the sun was setting. Here she stopped, wondering which way she should go. And as she stood there, a rich man on a big horse came riding up. "Girl," he said, "what are you doing in my forest?" "Please, sir," she said, keeping her eyes cast down toward the ground, for her mother, who she loved very much, had taught her good manners. "Please, sir, I did not know this was your forest. I am only trying to get to the city to fetch a doctor for my mother, who is very sick." "That is no excuse for trespassing on my land," said the rich man on his big horse. "You will pay me for your passage here. Give me your coins." "But, sir," said the girl, "I have but little money, and I need it to hire a doctor for my mother." "In that case, give me all your food as well, and may the devil take me if you don't learn to obey your betters." Just then there was a clap of thunder, and suddenly the devil was standing there at the crossroads, with his tail twitching and his eyes shining. He looked up at the rich man and his big horse, and licked his lips. "You owe me a debt, rich man, and I have come to collect." Then the devil snapped his fingers, and with another clap of thunder the rich man was gone, leaving behind both his horse and his purse filled with gold coins. The devil turned to look at the girl. "Here, take this purse and this horse, and may they serve you better than they did this fool of a man, for I am tired of eating little girls." And then, with a final clap of thunder, the devil was gone. Well, the girl was frightened and confused at this strange encounter, but as she got closer, both the horse and the purse seemed real, and she decided it would be unwise to refuse these unlooked-for gifts. So she put the purse into her basket, and she patted the horse's neck timidly, for she had never ridden a horse before. The horse seemed kind, but maybe a little hungry, so the girl shared some of the food she had brought with her, and asked the horse if he knew the way to the city. The horse nodded and whinnied, which the girl accepted as a yes. Then she got up into the saddle, and the horse began to trot along. "Girl!" The girl started awake. She had fallen asleep, hugging the horse's neck. "Girl!" The girl blinked. The morning sun brightened her eyes. She looked around and saw a guard with his sword drawn, blocking the road ahead. "Girl! What is a peasant like you doing with a rich man's horse?" The guard took a step closer. The girl did not know what to say. "Sir," she began. "Enough! I know a thief when I see one. I am taking this horse, and you are going to the king's workhouse. And may the devil take me if you don't learn your place in this world." The guard started toward the girl, flashing his sword. Just then there was a clap of thunder, and suddenly the devil was standing there, with his tail twitching and his eyes shining. He looked at the guard, flashing his sword, and he licked his lips. "You owe me a debt, guard, and I have come to collect." Then the devil snapped his fingers, and with another clap of thunder the guard was gone, leaving behind his shining sword. The devil turned to look at the girl. "Here, take this sword, and may it serve you better than it did this fool of a man, for I am tired of eating little girls." And then, with a final clap of thunder, the devil was gone. Again the girl was frightened and confused at this encounter, but she thought of her mother, who she loved very much, and the thought gave her courage. Then the girl picked up the shining sword and attached it to her horse's saddle, unsure what she would do with it, but not wanting to seem ungrateful. And then the girl shared some breakfast from her basket with her horse, and the two of them continued their journey to the city. Finally, after passing through many woods and valleys and mountains, the girl eventually reached the city. Once inside, the horse did not know where to go, so the girl wandered about, hoping to find a sign to lead her to the doctor. Soon she came upon a pack of hungry wolves attacking a blind old beggar. The girl could see in an instant that the beggar was done for if she did not help. So the girl grabbed the sword from off her saddle and ran up at the wolves, stamping and shouting and waving the sword. Well, the wolves were scared off in a hurry before the girl even had time to realize how scared she was, for she had never used a sword before, and the wolves outnumbered her 5-1. Overcome with emotion, the girl began to shake and sob. The blind old beggar, hearing this, moved closer and laid a hand on the girl's shoulder. "Thank you, my dear. If you hadn't come by, I don't know what would have happened. These days, this part of the city is safe, neither from wolves nor thieves. But I have lived here all my life, and I have nowhere else to go." The girl thought of her mother, who she loved very much, back at their little house in the forest, and she understood. "Here, take this sword so that you may protect yourself from both wolves and thieves. I need only to find a doctor to care for my mother, who is very sick, back at our house in the forest." The blind old beggar accepted the sword tearfully, moved by the girl's bravery and compassion. "The doctor lives in a large house on the top of the hill, near the castle, my dear. God speed you and bless you." And then the blind old beggar retreated back into a doorway, tucking the sword into a tattered old cloak. The girl made haste, following the beggar's directions, and feeling excited to be so near to her goal. When she reached the large house on top of the hill, the girl led her horse through the courtyard and up to the door. The girl paused for a moment, nervous, but then she thought of her mother, who she loved very much, and bravery came into her heart once again. The girl knocked, but there was no answer. She knocked again, louder this time, but still no answer. The girl knocked a third time, loud as she could and with all her strength. Finally, a very fat man with big whiskers answered the door, his face flushed and a huge turkey leg in one hand. "What do you want?" The girl, somewhat taken aback, stammered a little, and then said quietly, "Please, sir, I—" The doctor, seeing now who was on his doorstep, interrupted. "What? A peasant girl interrupting my supper? I should call the guards." "Please, sir," the girl said, finding her voice, "my mother is very sick at our house in the forest, and I have come a very long way to hire you to come help her. I have money, see—" But before the girl could get out her coins, the doctor interrupted again, this time with a laugh. "A peasant girl hire me? I am the court physician. I don't want your filthy coins, and I won't be traveling to your mud-hole to care for your sick bitch of a mother. Now be gone, and let the devil take me before I help the likes of you." Just then there was a clap of thunder, and suddenly the devil was standing in the courtyard, with his tail twitching and his eyes shining. He looked at the fat doctor and licked his lips. "You owe me a debt, physician, and I have come to collect." Then the devil snapped his fingers, and with another clap of thunder, the doctor was gone, and in his place was a bottle of medicine. The devil turned to look at the girl. "Here, take this medicine, and may it serve you better than it did this fool of a man, for I am tired of eating little girls." And then, with a final clap of thunder, the devil was gone. Still reeling from the shock of the doctor's words, the girl picked up the medicine and put it in her basket. The thought came to her that now not only could she heal her mother, who she loved very much, but they would now have a horse and enough coin to live well for the rest of their days. So the girl climbed once again onto the horse's saddle and asked him to take her home. It seemed to her now that the horse flew like the wind, leaping over woods, mountains, and valleys in no time at all, to arrive back at the little house in the forest. The girl leaped down from the horse, pulling out the bottle of medicine and running into the house. But when she got inside, she found that her mother had died while she was away. The girl threw the medicine against the wall and screamed for the devil to come take her away too. But the devil did not come, for he was tired of eating little girls. So the girl lived on, alone with her horse and her coins and her sadness, in the little house in the forest. The end. Night, guys. Stay tuned.